Living with type 1 diabetes in the university, especially in Nigeria, is a different kind of journey. You are suddenly responsible for everything. That's your food, your insulin, your schedule, your safety. Trust me, this is not always easy. I am telling you from a lived experience. But today, having passed through the system in my first degree in Nigeria, I will actually show you exactly how to prepare yourself to thrive in the university environment. Not just for you to survive, but to equip you with very practical tips that actually work in a resource limited setting. Now, let's get into the business of the day. I will break down into segments to ease understanding. Section 1, preparing before you actually leave home. So you will need to sort this out before you even step onto campus. Preparation is everything with diabetes care in the university environment. The next question that might be going through your minds might be, oh, what do I need to pack? Well, your diabetes survival kit. Yes, I've got mine in my backpack I take to work every day. So you need one, insulin pens or vials plus extra backups. And then you need your glucose meter, your strips plus extra strips. And then you need like your hypo treatments like your glucose tablets, sugar cubes, and fizzy drinks. And number 4, you actually need a portable fridge or a food cooler or a clay pot that you could use to store your insulin. I'll talk about the clay pot method much later in this video. And number 5, you need your medical alert bracelets plus a medical card stating your diabetes status, the types of medications that you're on. And number 6, you actually need a doctor's letter for emergency purposes, and also a hard copy of your prescription. So a word of advice, always pack more than you need in uni because life is very unpredictable. Section 2, we're going to talk about insulin storage in a low and medium income setting. This is the biggest challenge for many individuals living with diabetes in a low resource setting, how we store our insulin because of the erratic electricity and it's never always reliable. So I would advise that you could use the following safe options. Number 1, a clay pot cooling system. So what you could do with this is wrap your insulin in a towel and put it in a clay pot and just on the bare floor. So the coolness from the cement helps keep your insulin vials in the right temperature. And then number 2, you could actually use insulated coolers. So you can get ice blocks, but remember that the insulin should not directly touch the ice blocks. So what you could do is you wrap it up in a towel and probably a polythene bag. You wrap it up, just place it beside the cooler and leave it there so the insulin is not directly touching the blocks of ice that you have put in the insulated cooler. And if you can afford to, a small portable fridge is also a requirement. But remember that insulin still says safe at room temperatures from 28 to at room temperatures for a month. But when temperatures consistently are above maybe 30 degrees, use any of the cooling methods that I have mentioned above. Section 3. So we're going to talk about food choices on a student budget. So you must have at the back of your mind that the university cafeterias are not particularly built for diabetes friendly meals, especially when you have a very tight budget as a student. So I will give you practical tips and that will help you make better choices as an individual living in a low resource setting, and how you can manage your food choices as a student on a budget. Number one, you can choose slow digesting carbs like the black-eyed beans, your local rice or fada rice. My Nigerian family will know what the ofada rice is. Very, very nice. The rice comes with the husk, so it's got a lot of fiber, and it is slow digesting carbohydrate. And you can also go for unripe plantain, yam, sweet potatoes, and you can add protein to every meal like your eggs, fish, groundnut, beans, and vegetables like okra, spinach, ugu, eforiro. They are quite affordable, and you can pair this up with any of the aforementioned meals. And always tend to mix low glycemic meals with medium or high glycemic meals. So what I mean, the meals that release glucose into your bloodstream faster, you mix them up with very high fiber like the green vegetables, which I've just mentioned. We've got like the ugu, spinach, and eforiro. So just make sure you always pair your carbs with vegetable. And when you're choosing fruits, you go for low GI fruits like your pawpaw, oranges, and guava. Avoid empty carbohydrates like white bread and sugary drink. I know this is a go-to meal for most students, like on a budget. They just get white bread and they've got a fizzy drink, and that kind of like sorts them out for the next couple of hours. So as an individual living with diabetes, don't go through that route at all. And you also need to learn your portions. So we've got the feast method. So just remember that one feast is equal to a carb portion. So whatever meal that you're going to have that contains carbs, just know that it should be the size of your clenched fist, not the whole hand, your clenched fist. I will list below as I speak now some smart snack choices that you could indulge in if you like to snack a bit. So we've got groundnuts. It's the popular one we have is either boiled or roasted groundnuts. Just try to eat in moderation. For the roasted groundnuts, you can have just a handful, and maybe for the boiled groundnuts, you can have a cup. That's the baker's cup. You can use that to measure. Then you've got boiled eggs, unsweetened yogurt, which you should also eat in moderation. And you get your fruit portions. So be mindful when I say fruit portions, one of each whole fruit. That is what you should take. You don't go sitting down and eating like 2 bananas. No, no, no. 1 banana a day, 1 orange a day, 1 guava a day. So you can get your 5 a day of fruits. But if you have like whole fruits like your watermelon, pineapple, or pawpaw, just cut them into small size pieces so you can have 3 of those. And also have in stock like biscuits just in case you get hypos. Remember that your goal is to keep your blood sugar levels steady. You're not aiming for perfection. So keep your blood sugar levels steady, not for perfection. So section 4, we're going to talk about dealing with stigma and educating people. In university, stigma actually hits you differently. You could hear people whispering in hushed tones, and people assume the unimaginable. Some think that, oh, diabetes is actually contagious. Some even think you have caused the diabetes upon yourself, or you brought it upon yourself. This is a different ball game, and it hits differently when you are in the university environment. So the truth is that when you are confident as an individual living with diabetes, your confidence will shut down any stigma faster than silence. So let me share some tips on how to handle stigma in the university environment. So first and foremost, I know my dad, this was the first thing he did when he met my roommates in uni. He had to tell them, he says, when you wake Nkiru up and she doesn't wake up, just know that you have to try and get some glucose into her system. If you cannot resuscitate her, please rush her to the hospital and let them know she lives with type 1 diabetes and she's got a hypo, because I'm a very light sleeper. So if you nudge me and I don't wake up, then you know that I've had a hypo episode. So that was the first thing my dad told my 4 roommates when he took me to uni. I remember that day, he sat them all down, gave them the lecture. Oh, bless my dad, he's an amazing father. So you must start off with telling your roommates that you live with diabetes, and this is how you need to sort out a hypo, so that they are very well aware when you start acting differently from your usual self. And you need to inform, if you have a very close pal as your coursemate, you need to inform your pal and tell them how you can be helped if you get into a hypo episode whilst you're having a lecture. So you must learn to speak. And when people start carrying false rumors about diabetes, you need to learn to speak up and educate them and tell them all that they know about diabetes are just myths, and you tell them the true meaning of diabetes and what diabetes is. So you need to learn to speak up. You could also join, or you create a diabetes support group on campus. And the last but not the least, you need to educate your lecturers, but do it politely. So you tell them, sometimes I might need to step out, I might need to have short breaks to check my blood sugar level. You need to remember that you are not fragile as an individual living with diabetes. You are actually managing a condition with so much strength, discipline, and resilience. So remember, you're not fragile, and always speak up to just demystify all the myths going around about diabetes. Moving on, section 5. So how do you manage your studies and campus life? I know this is very, very important. In the beginning, it wasn't easy for me. I actually learned the hard way. I will study all through the night and end up in the morning in the hospital after a hypo episode. So I wasn't as privy to all this education that I'm passing across now. Then I didn't know, oh, I needed to check my blood sugars after studying. You know, sometimes we kind of overlook some things, like our brain actually uses glucose. And when that is all used up, you go into a hypo episode. So you need to have that at the back of your mind. So moving on, an important point to note is that diabetes actually does not stop your academic excellence. I am a living testimony to that. But what stops your academic excellence is actually very, very poor planning. So let me give you some study plus health tips that I used that have helped me for so many years in the course of studying with all my degrees. The first one is, never ever you study on an empty stomach. You will crash. Hypo, you will crash. And you need to set alarms for your basal and bolus insulin doses. Carry snacks around when you've got a very long class or you need to do some extra studying. You need to anchor your meal time. So this actually helps you to predict when your blood sugars are going to be coming down. So you must anchor your meal times. It's very, very important. And then you need to actually stay hydrated, because heat in the Nigerian environment plus stress can actually make your blood sugar levels go sky high. And tend to move as often as you can, because movement will reduce any form of insulin resistance. Balance your schedule. Don't ignore diabetes burnout. You need to remember that your grades actually matter, but your health is the foundation. If you've got poor health, you will end up with poor grades. So remember this, grades matter, but your health is actually the foundation. So it's important that you keep your health in good health, if I can say that. Oh, don't even know what to say. Moving on to section 6, mental health and asking for help. This is that part of diabetes care that is often overlooked. I'm sure most people will agree with me that university can be a very, very lonely place. And living with diabetes sometimes even makes it feel more isolating, because most people they don't want to come close to you. They don't want to be saddled with looking after you. It's the reality of life. But if you've got a very good pal that will be there with you all the time, then kudos to you. You keep that pal close. So here are a few tips or ideas. Number 1, very, very, very important. On no account should you hide your disease, or your that you're living with diabetes, your status. Never you hide that you live with diabetes. Be open about your diabetes status, and learn to celebrate every little victory that you accomplish in your self-care routine. Find friends who actually understand what it feels like to live with diabetes by just being around you. They don't need to live with diabetes, but they need to understand. They need to be very empathetic and help you out when you cannot help yourself. And if you feel like really, really overwhelmed, please, by all means, seek counseling and get yourself sorted out. It's not a bad thing to seek some counseling. It will help you in your mental health. So it's very important. And you need to always stay connected with your family, or if you've got other online diabetes communities that you can always chat up with. It's very important. Like having a diabetes support group is very important. And before I end this video, I need you to remember that you're never alone in this journey. But you need to also know that you are powerful, you are capable, and very, very resilient. Very, very important. You are powerful, you are capable, and you are resilient. Have that at the back of your mind. With knowledge, the right preparation, and confidence, you can live fully and thrive well with diabetes in the university, even in a low resource setting. So I'll see you all in my next video. Thank you so very much for watching. Please remember to like, share, and hit that notification bell so you get notified when I put up a new video. Bye.
Thank you for watching. Bye.